It's actually service delivery. Remember the role, the constitutional role of the office of the Speaker. Our role is to hold the executive accountable. So I think there must be public knowledge and education insofar as the separation of power is concerned. Our role is not to play coalition politics per se. And even here, I'm not addressing you as a coalition partner. I'm addressing you as the Speaker of Council. And I'm discharging my duty as the Speaker of Council. And I think it is within that context that I'm addressing you. The last question from Business Day, how do we ensure service delivery without MECO? I've just answered that in my brief, that the of the day is the election of the new executive mayor. That is to ensure that there's political oversight. Remember, the administration is still intact. It's the city manager and his team of group heads of several service delivery departments. So nothing is stopping. In fact, in the visuals that you would have seen last week when the EFF were busy here, you would realize that I think the president of SAMO, which is one of the they want to proceed with their work. They are not going to be interrupted by politics in council. And the sooner we bring our political differences to an end, the better for our workers, who I must really tell you that they are quite serious insofar as service delivery is concerned, but also turning the tide around, because you would recall that we are still in the middle, not even out of the woods yet, of the adverse opinion advanced to us by the Auditor General. So yes, the idea is to elect the new mayor, who in turn will appoint his mayoral committee, so that his political leadership in the work that the city is doing. Thank you.
From Speaker, what's the process now for the election of a new mayor? I understand that there's still a candidate that needs to be put forward by the party who will get that position. But what's the process after that? Can you just please explain that? I know there's on the 28th or before the 28th of February, there needs to be, or some of the reports need to be approved by council, like the adjustment budget and so forth. Would the election of a new mayor and the election of a new mayor's committee be done before the 28th or not?
Can I also just add, similar, how soon can we expect of the new mayor? I don't think you've touched on that. Thanks.
Sorry, I've got a few questions. I would also like to get a better understanding of what happens if you don't finalize the adjustment budget and also the annual report before the 28th of February. How does this process play out with those deadlines in mind? And then I would like to know which decisions, if any, did the MACO take in this interim period that are now not valid or open for challenge, and how do you manage that? And then just two other questions. As far as I know, the Speaker's office was busy with an investigation into with regards to the Kratos project and his possible or alleged interference with the administration. Where is that investigation, and if it has not been finalized, are you going to complete it, or what's happening? And then just on the Premier of Gauteng's statement that there needs to be intervention in Tshwane, have you heard anything from the provincial government in terms of an intervention so far? Thank you.
Speaker, of course some of the people in council telling us some of the mayoral candidates would be former Speaker Tshwane and as well as Councillor Briggs. If nominated, are you also going to be vying for that position as well, the mayoral position in the city of Tshwane? And Speaker, just can I get clarity on this whole resignation thing, because it is quite confusing. When I spoke to you last time, you said that we have had our discussion on Monday following the resignation of the mayor, and that you had, of course, considered the second resignation as well. But now you say the city manager went through the supply chain process, appointed a legal firm, then got opinion to say the first resignation should be considered. In that technicality there, do we then say the city broke the law by actually considering the second amendment than the first one?
Any more questions?
Okay, thank you very much, Pretoria FM. The process to follow. Mayors are elected from time to time. Now, according to Municipal Structures Act, Section 55, subsection 1, the process is that after elections, all right, local government elections, the council has 14 days to elect the new mayor. That is after elections, but that process happened, and hence we have the leadership that you have now. It was on the basis of that subsection or section, the Municipal Structures Act. However, when you scroll down, subsection 2 says, should the mayor resign in the middle of the term, which is the case right now, the election of the mayor must happen as soon as necessary. It doesn't say 14 days, it says as soon as necessary. Now, I have indicated that it is necessary that we stabilize government. It is necessary we provide political leadership in the city. So, if you ask me, it's a process. We have to do that as soon as possible so that we are not in limbo for a very long time. But equally, the process is already governed by the Constitution. If you go to Schedule 3 of your Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, it will tell you how that process should ensue. So the Speaker will determine a date. Of course, work in isolation. The Speaker does not work in isolation. You will appreciate that the office of the Speaker is the extension of all the councillors in the city. There is a governance model. And next to me here on my immediate right, you have the chair of chairs, Alderman Saki Duploy. And we also have several Section 79 portfolio committees. And I see Chairperson Muraki is the chairperson of one of those Section 79 committees. It's here with us. So we communicate. We also have the whippery, where the chief whip of council, together with the whips of all political parties in council, they sit. So we communicate. So as soon as I finish here, in touch with the chief whip of council, who will also assist in the convening of all the whips, so that we can think together. But as I indicated, the law requires that the Speaker comes with that particular date. So the particular date is not going to be manufactured in isolation of all those structures that I've mentioned. And hence, my assistant here, the chair of chairs, is here because he must explain all the things that I'm saying. He's, if you like, a political administrator of the office of the Speaker. So we'll do that. I think there's also the budget adjustment together with the annual report, which I reported the previous time you were here, that the annexure from the Audit Performance Committee was wrong. So obviously we have to table the annual report. Now, the long short of it is that the city is non-compliant. The timing of the approval of the annual report on the 26th of the ordinary council meeting was to allow the speaker to embark on public participation process for a period is provided by the law, which is a period of 60 days. So that would have allowed us to do that for the whole month of Feb. We are almost at the dying end of the month of Feb. Nothing has happened. We are already in contravention of the law. The same applies to budget adjustment. The planned ordinary council of the 23rd, this Thursday, I already have received such reports on Friday from the leader of executive business, who was the acting mayor. He had already submitted those reports to me for tabling at council. So we're coming, but as I indicated that according to the legal advice, I think someone asked, it was Mbali, from Africa. So it means what mayoral committee had done was to consider those reports. But now that they are dissolved, it means that process would have been beside the law, or ultra vires, as it were. So, Mbali, your question, how soon? As soon as yesterday. But there are processes that must follow. Schedule 3 also dictates how these things must happen. So we will embark on all those kind of activities, dot the I's and cross the T's to ensure that everything is done on board. There are no legal ramifications at all. So it must be done appropriately, but according to the law. The chair of chairs is here, so as soon as we finish here, it's back to business to ensure that the next possible day is locked up for the election of the mayor, and that we shall communicate to all of you. Antoinette, if we don't finalize, yesterday I happened to be at SOPA there at the province. You have heard it was the speech that was delivered by the Premier Panyazali Sufi, scathing, and I think when he mentioned what he mentioned about Tshwane, I think I was not chuffed at all. I was in the company of other speakers in our province. We are a forum of speakers in Gauteng, and all of them were joking about it. But for me, it was too deep. That the province, and it's within their right, by the way, that when municipalities are failing to discharge their duties, it's not so much about coalition government, it's about the duties of municipalities to their residents. So I bumped into the MEC Copter, MEC Mzikumalo, just on a light note, but quite serious, about these delays of the annual report and the budget adjustment. And I think he didn't look angry at all. He said, look, go fix these things. The province is behind you, and will hold you by the hand to ensure that we do what we have to do. So we also have the support of the MEC Copter Mzikumalo. He took me into confidence, albeit for a very short while. So the investigation, the Kratos investigation, all the investigations that come through the office of the Speaker are channeled through the chair of chess, who also activates Section 79 Rules and Ethics Committee. We checked the last time, and I think they were quite overwhelmed. There are so many investigations that are taking place, including referrals from council. We are understaffed in that regard, and I think we are found as to the speed with which we process these investigations. So that investigation, I don't think it's anywhere near completion. That much I can tell you that. But nothing gets swept under the carpet. I think you will recall also that when I started, I was greeted with a litany of allegations. And the council, I was only cleared officially on all those allegations during the council of the 26th of January. So you can see sometimes it takes the whole year. And then you will be tormented throughout. And other countries, you have a cloud hanging on your head. So these are some of the things that unfortunately we deal with. But thank God, in my case, that is behind us now. But will continue, and council will have to close on that particular investigation. But also you must remember that some of these things, if they are of criminal nature, the chair of chair will tell you that they have to be reported to the police. The council doesn't, we're not capacitated to, to investigate criminal matters and this, but we do what is in our scope. I can't remember what you said about SOPA. You covered. Okay, I think the last one was from Hule. Am I vying for a position? What a question. Look, for your information, I never vied for any position. When COPE went into the elections, or perhaps let me paraphrase it in a particular fashion. Every political party, when they enter, they do that with the view that they want to win power. But the voters have spoken. They could only trust the people with one seat. Invariably, that seat is occupied by myself. How I find myself to this, I didn't negotiate nothing. All right? It was the coalition agreement that was entered into by 6 political parties. My party was represented by our President Likota. So they were done that. Actually, I was informed. I remember when I received a call from the president back then that would you consider being the speaker? I said no, I don't want, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I never wanted to sit here, but as a disciplined comrade, I was given that instruction. And trust me, I prayed, and my wife assisted to accept my fate, to be the speaker or to serve as the speaker. So it's an honor to serve. And such duty will I continue to discharge as long as we are still members of the coalition. So that's how much I can tell you about that. Other things that are happening in other political parties, I told you last time that the coalition agreement says the position of the mayor is reserved to the DA. There's no doubt about that. So as long as we are bound by the coalition agreement, that position will be reserved for the DA. You cannot predict what's going to happen on that particular day. You don't predict that. We go with the mood. So I think I must also clear the air. I'm not in negotiations with anyone. I'm just a one-seat political party here, and I'm doing the best I can to grow the party so that next time we come, we have more seats and perhaps play even a much bigger and meaningful role in the politics of our capital city, Tshwane. So the last question was, did the city break the law in considering the second letter? Yes and no. So a city is a very big structure. So that's why, as the speaker, you don't wake up and just through gut feel, arrive at a determination. So that's why we are doing what we are doing, so that we don't find ourselves on the wrong side of the law. There are so many things that the city does which you would imagine and think that they are breaking the law. I mean, I think failure to discharge service delivery to the residents is breaking the law, because it's the constitutional right of residents to receive services. So it's not a very simple question you're asking. But as the Speaker of Council, it is my responsibility and my constitutional duty to ensure that we are on the right side of the law. And what we have just said here is to realign ourselves with the law. And that we shall do by electing the new mayor in the city as soon as. Have we just started? I see more hands.
Anton again. Speaker, when you go to the doctor and he tells you you're terminally ill, usually most people go for a second opinion. Did you consider a second legal opinion on this matter? Because this is just a legal opinion. It's not a judgment by a court which says that the conduct was unlawful or the second letter is unlawful. This is just a legal opinion. Did you consider a second legal opinion? And are you at liberty to tell us who the legal firm is that gave you this opinion?
On the same issue, the legal opinion, Speaker, do you accept that maybe you were ill-advised by the Group Corporate and Services Department on that legal opinion, because you are now saying that you had to sought legal advice the second time around for you to recognize the first resignation letter? Do you accept that you were ill-advised? Thank you.
Speaker, are you disappointed about the coalition formation as well? I mean, you are reading from this adverse audit, which says that there isn't accountability for billions of money that we're missing. Would you say that there should be accountability within the multi-party coalition, particularly because the mayor was representing the Democratic Alliance as well? And that's one. But two as well, you mentioned that you had a bit of a chit-chat with Mzee Kumalo, Kokta MEC as well. Is the city of Tshwane on the brink of being placed under administration from what we saw in 2020 again? Because this is billions that were missed and accounted for, and service delivery is actually on the brink of decline. Yesterday, the Premier said that they needed to act with urgency to pump in a bit of finances to the city for it to be operational again.
Speaker, I think you are choosing your words very carefully when you say that you were not charged, you were not pleased when the Premier said that you will be intervening as a leader of agents in the metro. I think the question then would be, is that something that you guys are open to? Yes or no? If no, why? If yes, what kind of administrative support would you like to receive from the provincial government? Thank you.
Speaker, Patricia Kasaki from the SABC. On the controversy around the two letters, the legal advice that you received that sanctioned the second letter, is there any proof that we can get to actually understand, minutes or something that is concrete? Because at the time when you did talk about the legal advice that you were given to sanction the second letter, You were heavily criticized that there is no such advice. There is no evidence. You saw the EFF that also stormed your office, and they demanded proof of that legal advice, and they wanted the minutes of that meeting. So is there any concrete evidence to show where that came from, who gave you that advice? Because also, as you know the criticism that there was no such, you were actually just protecting the jobs of the MMCs and also preventing the opposition from going into an early council, which might topple the, the multi-coalition government. So is there any evidence that we can go by, or is it just your word that we need to take here?
Mr. Speaker, Antoinette Slowik from the court again. Just a quick one. What is the process if a political party nominates a candidate who is not currently a member of council? And then the non-compliance that you're referring to with regards to the adjustment budget and the annual report, are those things that can reflect and lead to a bad audit outcomes for the next financial year again?
Okay.
Any more questions?
Let's
Okay,
otherwise
all right,
it
no problem.
becomes too much. We had already taken 5. I think the standard operating procedure is that you take 5. And we will do that because it's safe and it's proven to work. I think it takes into cognizance the listening span of a person, the processing of information. So okay, the first one, Anton, who's the firm? The firm, it's Myron. Okay, let's read this. This is a signed legal. It's signed here at the bottom. You will take a closer shot later on because it's not a secret. I told you that supply chain processes were embarked upon not by the speaker but by the city manager. All right. So the front page reads: legal effect of the resignation letters of the Executive Mayor, Alderman Councillor Randall Williams. Opinion by Myron Durance SC. So it's a senior counsel. Smanga Setene, instructed by Nguve Incorporated Attorneys. And the address, I think I don't want to do the advert for this law firm, but yes, it's here. I think it also answers Pet from SABC News. So this is proof. I don't know what more proof. So this is proof. Now the first one. Remember, the speaker is taking decisions all the time. It's just that this is a bit of a vexing and a peculiar situation. Some legal advices will be written and some will be in a meeting. However, what I have done to avoid this kind of things, you see, Pet, I said to the group heads, because I was not alone in a room. This room was full, okay? And one of the people who was here was the group head, Dr. Pillay. So I told him that whatever that legal opinion is and was, let it be reduced into writing. I remember, I think, the leader of the Freedom Front Plus in our coalition government, he asked for it. He said, because you see, people will always cast aspersions. I must really warn you, this job of the speaker is not the easiest of them all. Sometimes you are chided upon by your own coalition members, and sometimes by the the coalition, by the opposition, and sometimes by everybody. So you work home yam shate why hapa umlatu. I don't know if you hear that, but why lisa umlatu. So you can go and do your research on that. So you do this, you are wrong. You don't do this, you are wrong. So but something must happen. We can't just freeze. So yes, there's proof, Pet, for both. But today, because I was updating on this one, it's here. It's quite a voluminous, but I think you are not averse to reading. So, but it's a council document. I'm just taking you into confidence. I think I've answered Patricia and Anthony.
Just on the second opinion, Speaker.
Can you allow me to go through? Otherwise, you will monopolize this media briefing.
Pardon.
Anton, thank you very much. So again, the question: were you ill-advised? Again, you can see the variation between the two opinions. Okay, but there are two. I like the Bible says two is better than one. So there was that one, and then there's this one. Okay, so it's two. So which one do you go for? When I got the first one, I acted. Of course, others were not happy. You will never please anyone, by the way. So, and I'm not here to please anyone. I'm here to do my job. Here is the second letter. And each time I get, unfortunately, no luxury of time. You can't sit and say, I'm still waiting. You have to take a decision so that you minimize the damage. Because you can imagine, if you don't take a good decision, whatever mayoral committee would have arrived at would have been done ultra vires. So you also want to protect them. So hence, when it comes, you act. And by the way, people have to go to courts. That's why they are courts of laws, because they are the final arbiters. If you are not happy with a particular decision, you proceed to the court of law. But we don't stop the business of council in order to wait for courts to. By the way, council is not run by courts; it's run by council. Okay. So we don't wait for courts to run us. No, we're not appointed to be run by courts. We are appointed to run the constitutional work of delivering services to people. Business day. What kind of admin support from the province? I think the mayor was quite eloquent in the type of interventions. They are prepared. If I recall, one of the interventions he said he would prefer that there are no dusty roads or gravel roads in our townships. And cities, in particular of our size, have what call in the IDP. I think it was actually a bit of some public